As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission, I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking yourself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain, keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning, folks. Thank you for joining us today. I know you have many options and choices to utilize your time on different social media platforms. I appreciate you being here with us. My name is Earl Bloodworth, and I am being privileged to host this show today with a heavy heart. My mentor, who the show belongs to and who the show is named after, Tom Ficklin, passed away a couple of weeks ago. And just wanted to give a moment of silence in his honor. And I'm going to share a poem with you about how I feel about Tom and how he made me feel. And thank you. So, as I said, it's with a heavy heart that I do today's show, but also a heart with hope, based on the guest that I have, who I will begin talking to in a minute. But I want to share this poem with everyone regarding Tom Ficklin. The poem is called "The Bridge Builder," and it is by Will Allen Drumagold. And the poem is as follows. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him, but he turned one safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm, deep and wide. Why build this bridge at evening tide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followed after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm has been as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him. So I wanted to share that with everyone because Tom indeed was a bridge builder. And thank you, Tom. All right, folks. We shall proceed. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have with me James Pops Mitchell Sr. And he's going to be sharing with us a story of love. Young love, enduring and persevering love. And without further ado, I introduce to you a man who I call Pops affectionately, even though he's wearing a Dallas Cowboys hat, which is unfortunately a part of his identity. but I and many others still love him. So, Pops, how you doing today? You want to introduce yourself to the folks?
Good, good. Thank you for having me on. First of all,
Absolutely.
it's definitely a pleasure being here.
So, we're going to be discussing today with Pops a fairy tale love, the Jimmy and Georgie story. So, tell us a little about yourself and tell us a little about Georgie, Pops.
All right. So I met my wife back in I believe it was 1972. Um, she was a very special person, and unfortunately, a year ago, this past May, she passed away. I felt the need to keep her memory alive and to keep her legacy going and tell about who she was, because I felt that she was just that special. So I was inspired by my middle son to write this book to tell her story, which is our story, but I really tried to focus on her.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can imagine um, wanted to maintain and keep her memory alive and memorialize her and writing these things down and reliving these memories as joyful as they were, because she was a joyful person, always with a smile on her face. I can imagine that it wasn't easy for you to do, or was it easy for you to write these thoughts down, these memories, and share them with people?
In all honesty, it was very therapeutic to write the book. I would wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and if I couldn't sleep, I would get up and I would get on the computer and start writing. Um, the hard part was when I came to the chapter where I talked about her passing away, because I relive it. I relive it almost every day when I think of it, and it was that was very emotional. But it did me good to be able to do it, to write the book, because again, like I said, telling her story, and I love talking about her. I went through my dark spell, my dark period,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that I needed to get up. I needed to get up and tell her story, tell who she was. So it was definitely enjoyable writing it.
I understand, definitely. Not that I could foresee anything like this happening with you writing a memoir, but I recall being at the service and how you and your sons kept it a very memorable and oftentimes a humorous affair in her memory. It just reminded me of all the times that I spent with you guys and how it was always a good time. It was always a good time. You guys, as I said in the beginning, you guys had a young, lasting, and enduring love. Tell us a little bit about that beginning, about you meeting her.
Uh, so I first met her. I had seen her around,
Mhm.
and she used to hang with a little group of girls, what I call her posse, and they
this,
kind of
this is in New
protected her.
Haven, right? This is in New Haven. This all takes place in New Haven.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, was actually living out in Quinnipiac projects.
Okay.
So one day I saw her on the porch by herself, and it was my opportunity to introduce myself. And she was on the porch, and she wasn't looking too happy, and it was her birthday,
Oh wow.
and she had a birthday party, and it wasn't going so well. So I just offered a word of encouragement. I said, listen, there's going to be many more birthdays, and they're only going to get better. And so while I was talking, her mother came up, asked me what I was doing. I was just trying to make a friend, and she's like, oh, she's too young for a boyfriend. I mean, she kind of chased me away. Oh, but I got her attention, and she started chasing me. And we celebrated 49 years of marriage. Um, so it was beautiful.
Um, and throughout the story a little bit, you mentioned her mom. I heard her mom was pretty tough, huh? I heard she had a rusty shotgun.
Yes, her mother did have a rusty shotgun, which didn't play into any part of me marrying her. I like let a shotgun with it. I don't know if the shotgun even works, you know. But it was I really talk about it being a fairy tale because the fact that I actually married her when she was 15.
Oh, wow.
I was about to go into service and
Hmm.
she was unhappy at home and she wanted to go with me, you know. And I told her the only way we could do so was to get married. And
Did
who
she
would have
believe you at
thought?
first?
Did she believe me when I said that?
Yeah,
No,
that
she
you
thought
wanted
I
to
was,
get married.
no, she thought I was just playing with her head. She didn't think I was serious.
Oh,
And I
wow.
told her I was, you know. And who would have thought that a 15-year-old would say yes? She said yes, and I had to make it happen. And we
Her
did,
mother
you know.
agreed with all of this.
Well, this I had to tell it to her mother. This is us talking and planning.
Hmm.
Once we decided, I'm like, well, we need to have a conversation with your moms. And I had that conversation, had me a couple shots of McNaughton's to get my courage up. And
What is that?
oh yeah, yeah. Her mother
Like
wasn't
night
going.
train?
Not night train. McNaughton is Canadian whiskey.
Oh, okay. My father used to drink CC.
It's along the same lines.
Okay, Canadian. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, her mother grilled me, asked me a few questions, which I was able to answer. And she said, "You really love my daughter?" And I'm like, "I do." She wanted to know how I was going to take care of her. And I explained to her that I was going in the military and, I wanted her to go with me. So she actually blessed it. And, we had to go through the process to make it happen. We had to see
Hmm.
a
Probate
probate
judge.
judge to get him to approve it. We had to get the marriage license, and got the pastor. I used to go to Manuel Baptist Church. We got him to officiate the
Reverend
ceremony.
Cofield.
Reverend Kofor, absolutely, yes.
Hmm.
This was after, after he talked to us, counseled us a little bit. And then the funny thing about it is, today you can't do that.
No.
Since that happened, there's laws against getting married underage.
Hmm.
So it was meant to be. It was meant to be. And like I said, to me, it was a true fairy tale that, people didn't think it was gonna last. But like I said, we lasted 49 years, and we lived by our vows until death did we part.
Indeed, indeed. So you had that liquid courage, and you went to go talk to her moms, and you made it happen. And you're a man of your word.
Absolutely.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Um, I just to share with you, um, so when I met my wife, I met her in college, and um, we were with child early in college. And so I went to have that conversation with my mother to tell her that I had someone with child. And my mother said, "What are you going to do?" And that's the only thing I knew to do it was to, ask her to be my wife. And I tried that liquid courage. And the first two times, my current wife now, she said no. But I was thinking, if I'm being honest, I'm being really honest if, I had the liquid courage, but she said no. The first two times. Third time's a charm, as you can see from the
Mhm.
magic number.
Mhm.
Um, what would you say is your proudest memory of your relationship, if you could choose one, or if you have a couple of
Um, I said there's a couple of them. Number one, raising a family.
them? Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of funny because right after we decided to get married, we found out that she too was with child, and I wasn't gonna let her uh raise a child alone. So that was a big factor in getting married. She wanted three kids, or she wanted three sons actually, because she came from a
Really?
family of all girls. She came from a family of all girls,
It was
and she
five of
got
them,
her.
right?
Excuse me.
It was five of them,
There
the
was eight of
girls.
them.
Oh,
Eight
eight?
girls. Eight girls. Yeah,
Oh,
total
wow.
eight. Yeah, it was eight girls, and so at the time the house there was, I think there might have been five in the house at that time.
Okay. Oh, that's
So
okay.
yeah, there was five living at home. Um, and she was like, there was just so many things about it. She was like wise beyond her years.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, that's because she's an Aquarian. So,
is that why?
hey, us Aquarians,
Okay,
man. What can I tell
I'll
you?
take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. She was no nonsense. She was authentic. And you know, I don't, there's a song by Money Long called "Made for Me,"
Hmm.
and she was truly made, we was made for each other. Um,
Amazing.
she didn't take my crap. She didn't take nobody's crap.
I was about to say she didn't take anybody's crap.
Nobody's, man. So, um, I look at it like a lot of people stand on her shoulders today, both men and women,
Hmm.
because she was very passionate about battered women and children,
Hmm.
and you know, people, everybody came by the house. All my kids' friends, they all came by the house at the house,
Shout out
and
to that.
you know, it's real. And she you weren't just hanging out there. If she came over, you definitely got a meal. If you were there during mealtime, there was structure. You know, she was just an awesome person all around. She was my best friend. She was my lover. She was my confidant. Um, like I said, she just made everybody around her stronger and better.
I agree with that. She had no problem telling us if we was musty.
And Paul saying what?
She had no problem telling us if we came up to the house and one of us was musty,
Oh,
which
for
wasn't
sure.
me, I gotta say. I wasn't. But yeah,
She definitely spoke her mind, and she didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. She
absolutely.
tell you what she felt, and it was the truth, and she didn't bite her tongue.
Not at all for no one. She worked at Yale a number of years, correct?
Yeah, she was at Yale. I want to say well over 20 years.
Hmm.
She went out on a medical back in 2016, I think it was 2015. She went out. She came down with a bad case of shingles, and it caused permanent nerve damage.
Oh wow.
So she wanted going on a medical.
Shingles is
She
no
had a good
joke,
run.
folks. It's
Yeah,
no joke. Especially if you had the chicken pox, you might want to go get checked out and get that shingle shot.
that shingle
I
shot.
did.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
had a case of the shingles a couple years ago. I was so stressed out
Mhm.
with stuff that was going on in my life. It's painful, very painful.
It is. It is. I watched her deal with it. She was a trooper. She dealt with a lot of pain. So, I often say she was my hero because some of the stuff that she went through, I can not imagine going through.
Mm. I'm gonna get back to that actually. I want to talk to you about that. And you talking about how strong she was. But you said you had a couple of other proudest moments in your relationship. Talked about the three kids and her. What about your three kids, your three children, the three sons that she foresaw?
Yeah. So, she was definitely a mother first. I remember there was a time when she told me she was going to quit a job because um, she wasn't going to have anybody raise her kids.
Mm.
And I said, well, wait a minute, we need a second income. She said, well, you better get a second job. And that I did, you know. And, I take my hat off to her because, uh, we both played a role in raising the kids. Me, I felt that I wasn't gonna have nobody be a mentor, be a role model for them, that I was gonna be their role model. But she was the disciplinarian. Um, she was the one who was there with them all the time because from time to time, because I was in the National Guard and due to my job, I would go with for training or National Guard for training. So there was times she had to be both the mother and father. She played baseball with him, taught him how to catch. When Scooter played football, she played football with him, showed him how to catch. So, to me, it was definitely a proud moment to see how the kids developed, how the kids grew up. Because when I measure success, I don't measure success by anything I've accomplished. I measure success by how my kids turned out, and all my kids have turned out to be, wonderful young men. So, and again, like I said, I attribute that mainly to her.
Um, so I'll say this, Pops. So I was introduced to your family by your son, Snug. We went to high school together. And at that point in my life, I was 13 in high school, and I had just lost my father the year before in middle school. So as a parent, that turning into a teenager, going to high school, that's a pivotal moment in a child's life. A lot of things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Just as many things can go right, a lot of things can go wrong. I have to say, meeting your son and a couple of other friends and having that friend group, I can honestly say put me in a better place and saved my life. So I thank you and your family for opening up your home to me and many others.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Question I ask you, because it's a thing. You said it momentarily, and it's a theme throughout the book. You repeatedly mention how strong she was. You just mentioned that she was your hero. You mentioned how strong Mrs. Mitchell was. But where do you think she got that strength from? Because it seemed like an endless well.
Oh, yeah, good question. Where did she get her strength from? Um, I think she got her strength from adversity,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that she faced, and she was like she was very feisty, and she wasn't gonna let people bully her or knock her down or belittle her. So it made her strong.
And you mentioned her playing catch with your sons and supporting them in their efforts in baseball. What would you say? I mean, it's obvious to me, and I would hope to many that are listening to this. She was the strength and the backbone of the family. Where would you say that strength is today in your family?
Um, I think today, all my kids have attributes from me and her both, but I think they took on her strength because she, she was always encouraging them. She was always pushing them. She was always driving them, and she was very supportive of them. Nobody messed with her kids. And I think the fact that coming from a two-parent home,
Mm.
it was very important. And like I said, that we passed it on. We passed it on to our kids.
You want to tell the folks a little bit about your kids?
Sure, sure, sure.
I know
So
you gave them all unique nicknames.
yes, as a kid, in my home with my brothers and sisters, we all had nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
So as they came along, they got nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
So the oldest one, James Jr., his name is Snug, and it came from when I was in the military. One of the instructors used to use this phrase to
Nigga
identify Snugglebugger, to identify uh things in general. Snugglebugger, that was the word. So the name Snug just resonated with me, and we just start calling him Snug. Um, he's he's doing well, married, two kids. Then our middle son came along.
Mm-hmm.
He got the name Bucks, and Bucks came from Snug, who used to watch Porky Pig, and Porky Pig used to say "beady beady beady," or he say "beady beady." That's all, folks. And Snug used to say "beady beady Bucks." So he got the name Bucks. He's currently living in California, married, and he has a son. And then Scooter got his name from being in the hospital, in the nursery, and they put him in the crib, and he'd be all over the place. One day I heard the nurse say, "Look at him, he's scooting around." Stop calling him Scooter. But more importantly, too, each one of them have my initials. They each have JAM in their name. And it was my wife's way of honoring me. by, we didn't want to do like George Foreman and name him George.
George.
So they each got James Arthur, Jamel Allen, and Jamal Andre. They each JAM. So
You mentioned in the book about them and their wonderful wives, as well as your extended family with your daughters and cousin Corey. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Sure. So, my wife was a visionary, I think, because she always looked out toward the future and what she wanted. As I said, she wanted 3 sons, and that she got her wish.
Yeah,
She
Aquarians
often
can't help
said,
that. That's just what we do.
that's just what we do. I'm glad to know that you do that too. I think she had an impact on you. So, so, so she once said that, before we bought our first house, she said, if I ever get a house, I want a house where all my son's friends and family can come over and not have to hang out on the street. So we bought our first house on Ferry Street, 2-family house with an attic, and we had the house renovated, and the attic was fixed up, and that was like an apartment that my kids used. That's where they hung out at.
I remember
Their
it
friends
well.
came over. Everybody came over. It was like family. So
There was a house that wasn't there another house around the corner though. Was that Chatham Street? Was that
on Chatham Street, we lived
okay?
there before we moved over to Ferry Street. Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
So at one point in time, we took in 2 of her nieces, Shash and Ning, and they were like, we didn't have any daughters, but we had daughters.
You had daughters.
Shash and Ning, and then Corey. Corey stayed with us for a time, so it's like we really have 4 sons and 2 daughters, and a house full of extended family. So
Schoolmates, cousins, everybody.
absolutely, everybody was welcome there, and you came in, and she definitely made you feel like you was home, you had family, and it was a great environment.
No, I
Lots
can't.
of love.
There's not one point on that I could disagree with you on, Pops. It was an amazing time, amazing experience. At this point, I don't know, did you want to read an excerpt from the book and share with anybody?
You know what? There is a poem that I wrote that's not in the book yet.
Okay. Yeah, because the book is still in production. You're still going through drafts, right?
So the book is with the publisher. I'm hoping that's going to be out within the next. I'm hoping 2 weeks. It's been too long already, as far as I'm concerned. But the publisher's doing it. She's doing it right, and right now she's doing a final review. And so it should be. I'm hoping it's going to be either on Amazon, or they created me a website. It's either going to be on my website or Amazon. You can buy either way. And hopefully it's going to be out real soon. But there is a poem that I wrote that I'm hoping that's going to get included in the book, and I titled it "I Miss You," and it says, "You are the love of my life, my friend, my rock. I miss you. You are the reason that I get up each day and go out with a smile. I cherish you. I love when I meet acquaintances who acknowledge how special you were. I long for you. I hear music that reminds me of you, and the tears start to flow. I grieve for you. You are a very special person made just for me. My love grows for you. Today, I live for the both of us to keep the legacy alive. I honor you. Every day, I look at your pictures all around the house, and they remind me of how much I truly miss you. Until we are reunited in eternal love, I will continue to miss you. It's all my love." So it really sums up, what I feel for her, and it's why I can get up every day, carry on, go out here with a smile on my face because of her, and the memories that we have, the love that we shared, and the love of the two-way love. You know, people come to me today and they tell me about how much she used to talk about me all the time. You know, and it feels good to hear that. But I knew how much my wife really loved me. And I try to show her every day how much I loved her, you know. There'll be times we'll be sitting at the kitchen table and I would just stare at her. And she would say to me, why are you looking at me? And I said, George, because I love you. You know, I says, you know, I just love you. You're a wonderful person. So like I said, we really had a very special bond and a very special marriage, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, there's a meme out on it's been out for a while though on Instagram and TikTok and whatnot about men looking at their wife, staring at their wife lovingly and looking at them, and the wife turning around talking about what you looking at, like getting really hostile.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Uh,
fortunately, she didn't get hostile when I stared at her, but she always asked, "Why are you looking at me?" You know, so
mm,
I used to love looking at her. You know, I used to call her my chocolate angel.
mhm.
You know, she had beautiful dark skin, smooth skin. She was very meticulous about taking care of her hygiene, her skin. You know, and she used to always take the kids, and she would always put Vaseline on them, and she would always tell them, you want to look like a dog quarter or a shiny penny. You know, so she would always Vaseline. So she was. And she would get on me, same thing. And she was always talking about my rusty knee or my rusty ankles. So I had a Vaseline up too.
No doubt, no doubt. I can see you said you keep pictures of her all around. I can see a picture behind you right there on the refrigerator.
Yes, you know, I have a picture. I have that picture. I have pictures all over the house of her. You know, I had a friend, a coworker that I used to work with, whose wife passed away probably 2 years before my wife passed away.
Mhm.
And I didn't know about it. And I met some friends, and they told me what he was going through. And I reached out to him, you know, and he couldn't stand to look at a picture of his wife. He could not look at it. And I'm like, you know, it floored me because I couldn't stop looking at her. So, you know, it just filled my heart. It just brings back memories. I have a little tree in the living room that have all her pictures on it. And they're just wonderful memories. So, you know, I was blessed to at least have that, to have the memories that I can hold on to, that I can share. And like I said, I just love talking about
Absolutely, as you should. I mean that you mentioned your friend and the passing of his spouse and how he was dealing with it, or and some would say not able to deal with it. But what do you think? Because everybody processes death and grief differently.
it.
What if you were to give some words of advice to people? Because I myself had a lot of people pass in a short period of time, and it took that for me to realize that I needed to go to therapy.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that therapy is right for everybody, but I needed it
Hmm.
for myself to deal with
Hmm.
processing the grief. How do you go about doing that, and what words of encouragement or advice would you recommend for other people?
Couple things. Number one, I I did I still go to therapy today. I have a therapist. I go to therapy today. I was going to this therapist prior to her passing
Mm-hmm.
because of the situation that you know about with Snug with COVID. So
Yep.
I was in a therapist dealing with that. And then I was about to end our sessions and she passed. So I continued with the therapy. The second thing is church. You know, when I was over in Kuwait, I went to church every Sunday. And when I came back home, I'm like, you know, I need to continue this. And I was trying to figure out a church to go to. And I knew, um, you know, we had a connection with Emmanuel Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew of Reverend Ross Lee, who was the pastor there.
Yep.
And I started going to church on Sundays. And his message has really resonated with me. And two things he said that really struck me was when you're going through something, you got to go through it. Can't
Yeah.
go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it. You got to go through it. And I heard that message
In it.
and I allowed myself to go through it. And the other thing he said is that you know, we all fall down, but when you fall down, you got to get up. And he said, you got to get up. And I realized I had to get up. I couldn't just stay here, do myself a pity party and just, you know, waddle in self-pity. that I had to get myself up and I had to live for me and her too. And lastly, I chose not to mourn my wife, but to celebrate her life, and celebrate her life every day. And you mentioned earlier about the her homegoing service, and you know, my sons are wonderful. We got together and they wanted to celebrate her life. They didn't want a sad homegoing. They wanted the celebration to be just how she lived. So one thing that they did was they approached a pastor and they wanted to play music that she listened to on a daily basis. They didn't want the gospel music because she didn't grow up in church. And that's where the service went. It was a happy service, it was a cheerful service, it was uplifting. And so, I haven't stopped celebrating. So that's what really gets me to it.
And you mentioned about her legacy and strength going on into your sons. You have grandchildren.
Yes.
How's that? How's that being Papa? And they range in age too as well.
Yes. So it's funny because the grandkids loved grandma, and grandma loved them. That was her life. She just loved kids in general. So they were very close to her. So yeah, I have a 17-year-old granddaughter. I have a 15-year-old grandson, hockey player, and then the next two are 4 and 6, and so my youngest grandson Spencer called her Grandma. He didn't call her grandma, called her Grandma. And we had got into this routine where on Fridays they would come over and stay overnight. When they came over and stayed overnight, I could not sleep in the bed with her. They slept in the bed with her, and they literally would fight me to make me get out of bed and go sleep in the other room. So they were real close to her, And our youngest grandson actually lived in San Diego, but my wife wanted to make sure that she was part of all of their lives, not just the ones here. So, even though they were in California, we did get to go out there and visit. But, thanks to technology and Zoom and all, she was able to still stay in touch with them and stuff. So they definitely played a very important role in both our lives,
The legacy lives on. You guys did an amazing job raising your family, and I've been privileged to be a part of that. I think I know I was joking about how great Aquarians are, but not really joking. But it was it was cool as when we got older, of course. And her birthday was right around my birthday, and then Christmas birthday, and then Buck's birthday, and sometimes we would go to El Amigos and
yes,
have a couple of drinks, and it was always a good time. Always a good time.
And it's wonderful because it was all part of what we call the extended family. You guys became part of our family, and you showed us nothing but love. None but love, and I mean, even to this day, when I'm out and about, I run into people. Our house was so full of people, I can't keep up with. She knew everybody. Trust me, she could tell you everybody in this story. And I still run into people today, and they say, "Hey, you're Buck's father, or you're Scooter's father," And I'm like, "Yeah, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, good seeing you." And I have no idea who they are. So, but they know me. They know me.
Absolutely. Who could nobody can forget you, Pops. Trust me. That's for sure. And she stuck by you all these years being a Dallas fan.
Absolutely. Tell you she was a very smart woman.
How about that? Her sons are smarter because they all got different teams. They got the Jets, which suck. You got the Bears. And you got Washington Commanders. I don't know.
That was my shortcoming because I gave my kids too much freedom, too much independence. I wanted them to be independent thinkers, but I thought they'd be smart enough to follow my lead. But such as it is, they have their own teams. So
absolutely,
I respect that.
We're gonna be getting close to closing out time. I wanted to take this time for you to talk about, we talked about you guys meeting and some of the memories and the children and family and the legacy and extended family and all the great things. I wanted to take this time to talk about how you and the family are memorializing Mrs. Mitchell and extending her legacy. You mentioned that she was a big proponent and a fierce fighter and protector of women who were battered, women and children. You want to talk a little bit about that, if you
Sure,
don't mind?
sure. So she was very passionate about battered women and children. And I mean, nothing would get her more fired up than knowing somebody's being abused. So we used to have a relationship with Life Haven, shelter. And we used to do a holiday dinner and friend of family and had everybody bring a toy. And we would take those toys and we donate it to the shelter. So knowing that was a passion, we established a memorial fund and we raised enough money to donate to the shelter to get a family out, to give them enough money for a security deposit and a month's rent. We hope that to be an annual event. We established it last year on her birthday to honor her. And then on the anniversary of her death, we presented the check to them. And it just so happens it falls on Memorial Day. So we also did a cookout. We hosted a cookout for the shelter. The book, the hope is that the proceeds from the book is also going to be used to go to the shelter to continue to try to help abused and marginalized women to, hopefully make a difference, get somebody out, get them into a home that they can call their own. So the book, there's a website. If you want to get this plug real quick, there's a website. It's called Georgie's Legacy, and it's georgieslegacy.com. You can log on now. The website is live. Right now, you can subscribe to the book by, you go in and there's a spot where you enter your email address. Once the book is finished, it's released, there's going to be a launch party. I know one's going to be virtual, and hopefully I'm going to be able to do one live. And there'll be a blitz that's going to go out announcing the book and announcing how you can purchase a copy of the book.
There's a website that they can subscribe to get the book, and they can also make donations on this website.
No, the donations are on it's a separate website. It's called Georgie's Memorial. I think it's georgiesmemorial.com, I believe it is.
If you need to take a moment to get that right, go ahead and take a moment to get that right. We want to make sure the folks have access to that if they would like to donate funds.
Yeah, I have to pull it up. If I can pull it up real quick.
Go ahead, take your time.
All right.
Are we done, Earl?
Nope, just getting the website up, the information for the website, and then let Pops get that out to folks.
I don't see it right now. What I'll do is I will add that to my website.
Okay. Yeah, make sure you do.
I will add the link to it. So that once the book is announced, you can also see the website, because that is that memorial is open. It's still ongoing. We're still taking donations, but we'll present a check every year and on the anniversary of her death or on her birthday, whichever one.
All right. So
I'll definitely add that to the website.
With that being the case, give the folks your website again, just so they have that, so they can make sure they can hop on there and take a look.
All right, yeah. The website is Georgie's Memorial, one word, I'm sorry, Georgie's Legacy. Georgie'sLegacy.com is the website.
Is the website. That's where they can subscribe and purchase the book. And then you're going to add a link for the memorial fund to that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And the name of the shelter that you guys are assisting and donating to again?
It's Life Haven.
And that's located where?
It's on Ferry Street in Haven.
Okay.
But we actually have to give their donation under there's a parent company, so we can't give it directly to them.
Nope, I understand.
The parent company is New Reach.
New Reach.
New Reach, yes.
Okay. All right. So, Pops, we are in the closing minutes here. Got about 3 minutes. What else would you like to share in the memory of Mrs. Mitchell and your family and her legacy with the folks out there?
Well, read the book, buy the book, support us. Everything in the book, and at the end there's a dedication. It's dedicated to her. The last chapter talks about how I would like for her to be remembered, and
Celebrated.
Exactly. So I just do everything every day I live for to keep her memory alive. So that's what keeps me going. What gets me every day. So, and I just want to thank you for having me on, giving me this opportunity to actually share that.
No question, Pops. Anytime that I can help out the community and family member all at the same time, I'm all for it. You got my support regardless.
I appreciate it.
Except for with this Sunday's game.
I have no expectations, man.
Me either. My team is sucking right now, man. I'm like, it's driving me crazy. It's just in the Super Bowl. Oh, wait a minute. You don't know anything about that. It's been about 30 years.
I still ride with him, Everything goes in cycles.
Indeed.
We will be back. We shall come back.
Of that, I have no doubt, Pops. All right, folks, we're coming to an end of this show, which is titled again, A Fairy Tale of Love, the Jimmy and Georgie story. And thank you guys for spending this time with us. And Pops, thank you for being so open and sharing and caring and vulnerable with us in the community.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Folks, have a nice day. Thank you again for joining us. You can catch this in perpetuity and recording 103.5 FM WNHH on the website, the independent website. And we appreciate you guys out there. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting Tom. And Tom, thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains, haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up. Fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home